Hello, everybody. Welcome to this very exciting episode with Jürg Frey today on the podcast. If you don't know, Jürg Frey is a well known Swiss composer who creates both very vibrant and meditative pieces of music. I highly recommend his piece, Continuité, Fragilité, Résonance. He's closely associated with the Von Leweser Musical Collective, which started around 1997, and they dealt with some of the same questions John Cage and Morton Feldman were dealing with back in the uh, early 50s. Hope you enjoy this episode, and if you want to keep on supporting me, you can look at my Patreon account, find all sorts of things, get a free package of zines, get all sorts of things and doodads. Thank you, Jörg Frey, for being on this podcast.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this
I'm
talk and to chat a bit.
yeah, I'm so grateful that you took me up on the offer, and just really pleased to have you on. Um, so a question, actually, one my friend Hannah came up with, I thought was kind of an interesting one, was if you could spend a day with J.S. Bach, um, what would you talk about with him?
Oh,
Or
with back.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, well, as maybe you know, he had a lot of children, 10 or 12 or something like that. I would be interested how he organized his day with this whole family life and all these children and when he did write the music, and that's mainly it's not so much it's not a musical question, but how is life? How was life in this time? Because when we listen to his music, we have the feeling he's all the time with his music. He can just sit down and write something, and it will be it go very well and will be very good. So, but of course, there was a lot of struggling and noisy things around him. So I just would like to see how was it then, the life in the town or in the apartment where he was living at this time.
mm,
So that's maybe the first thing what I would be interested in later, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's good. I never heard that one before, so yeah. Um,
But I say
mm,
because I do not have so many children, but we had three, and this it's also with three is some kind of organization. How can you make it to compose and to play, to give concerts, to practice, and when, as I understand it, I wanted to be also half part the family man, not just oh, you are doing it, I do my job, but then it's a question of how you can organize your life so that all the different things what you are doing at the same time and they are all of them are important, how you can make it going all together.
mm. Yeah, you actually touched on a subject I'm always wondering of myself of certain composers of I mean you as a father how do you kind of incorporate uh having time to work while also having time uh with I don't know how old your children are, but spending time with children and things like that.
Well, at that time when the children were little, when they before they went to school or at the beginning of the school time, I had to find the time to write music, to compose, and that was in the early morning. So at this time, I had a couple of years where I started at 5 o'clock in the morning,
Mm,
working and writing music till 7 o'clock or 7:30, and then yeah, family life and go to school and all the rest. So I had a safe time where it was quiet in the house, and so I could work then. So That's how we managed it.
Mm-mm. Yeah, because I mean, generally composers also have to travel. So how was that? Did you have to make a lot of travels as a composer yourself,
Yeah,
or?
that maybe you do not know, but my career is quite not typical because my first travel to outside of my country was when I was 40.
Mm,
So, and then the children had an age of 8 and 9, and so
mm,
I did not travel. So
mm,
it's not because it was not a problem for me, but my work was more. I was a composer. I write my music. I was a teacher. So that my music was it came more to public, my music or my work when I was 40 or 45. So then the traveling, of course, became much easier. Yeah. So
mm,
it's
mm.
yeah. But
Yeah.
before, when we had all this family life, I was just at home.
Yeah, because one of my teachers, it seems like he's constantly traveling, and I'm just so surprised because he has two very young children. Um, yeah, so uh, yeah, it does interest me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, um, so I guess we'll get into some music now then.
Yeah.
Uh, so with your I don't know if was it the first piece of yours that have the half harmonics, the second string quartet? Wha-
I used it also in a duo before for two violins. It's also there. This is a it's a piece what I wrote it in some maybe 95 or 96, and it's a half an hour piece, and the two violins are playing all the time unisono for half an hour, different stuff. And there is one section where I made these special kind of half-tone harmonics. And that was my first experience. It was, I tried it out with a violin player, but when I heard it with bows, and then I realized, oh, that sounds quite interesting. And
Mm,
later, yeah, and I think the second piece was the string quartet and the second string quartet. But as you know, a lot of these kind of sounds are there.
mm. Yeah, uh I guess particularly with the second string quartet, was there a was there because you employ that technique from beginning to end, what was do you think that was representational of something, or do you think it was more searching for a new way of making sounds, I guess?
Well, it's what I was look. It was not so much I was not so much interested in that new sounds. It was more. I wanted the sound of a string quartet is so clear and so strong and so direct, and I was looking for something which made it more airy, more as something which is not so clear, focused. And so my interest was not so much, oh, I have to look for something very special, but
Mm.
I was interested in a more all-over sound, which makes the string quartet more hanging in the air as a ensemble, and not so much a yeah strong composition attitude.
Yeah, because there is something quite uh I don't know, seemingly uh un unpenetrable, I think, like for a string quartet, when I guess at least when you're first writing one, that um because yeah, what you're saying, it's such a strong sound.
And
um
it has a connection to the other string part that I wrote in 1988, which are it's in a way, not exactly the same, but somehow a similar idea. But when you hear this piece, it's really it's a bit heavy, and it took me another 10 years to come to another in my life and in my understanding of my music to come to another point where it was possible to do that.
Mm-mm. I mean, do you find that there's maybe some difficulty moving from medium to medium from certain array of instruments to certain array of instruments, vice versa?
In you mean in what is an ensemble to go to one or to another ensemble or
No, yeah, to do like let's say starting like you did a string quartet and then like you move on to writing for
for
a
piano?
yeah, for piano or a big ensemble or yeah.
No, that's not a because my working process is not is not so I write this piece and then I write this, but it's a lot of material on my table here,
Mm,
and half of the material I do not know what it is, what direction it will have. It's maybe I write the instrumentation, but it's not sure if this is the instrumentation. That means I'm also working on pieces what I do not know if they will become a piece or not, or what I do not know what it is. So I I I work with my sounds. I write them usually by handwriting, and then I yeah, you have a note. You write the F sharp, and then you write the trumpet. But you can also the next yeah you can also write piano, or you can also write five horns or whatever. So that's my way of working, and so and at some point when it it becomes a bit more focused. So I think, oh yeah, it goes to string quartet, it goes to a sextet with strings and percussions or whatever, and then I I look on my huge material thing. What could go in this direction? How could I work with this? What should I change in this when it's written five horns? Maybe it doesn't work so well for vibraphone. So I have maybe to make yeah different things. So and
mm,
and that's so it's quite in flow on my table and. Although it's also a great experience because when you have a certain instrumentation in mind, it limits also your mind. You think trumpet can just do this. But when you have written for piano and then you think, oh, maybe this goes for trumpet, maybe it doesn't. But if you change
mm,
a little thing, then it goes with trumpet. But before this detour about in the piano, you will never find this kind of sound or melody or combination of sounds on a trumpet. So that's yeah, that's how I'm working. So I never have a problem uh,
yeah.
to switch from one instrumentation or ensemble to another.
Mm. Yeah, that's really sorry, what were you saying?
Yeah, that's because that's my life. That's my way of working.
Mm-mm. Right, right. Um, yeah, that's really interesting that yeah, because me as a composer, I usually have a excuse me. I usually have um a strict, you know, instruments in mind that I'll write for
Mhm.
right from the beginning. So that's pretty interesting that you kind of find that through your material.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But on that some point, of course, I have to yeah, my way has to have a direction at some point then to write a piece for these instruments.
Mm.
But then not, usually not at the beginning.
How's how is that method, I guess, of trying to hone it in into something? Is that a difficult process?
Of trying what?
Of taking one of your materials and saying, oh, it should be for this kind of instrument. Is it then more difficult to hone in that um, writing for that instrument, that using the already written material?
Oh, huh. Uh, it's difficult to say.
Mm,
It's one. It's maybe I make an example. At the moment, I have, I, the next piece, what I'm will write is a saxophone quartet.
mm,
And I, I have to forget it. So
mm,
at the end, in end of the year, I should have the piece. But for now, when I think, oh yeah, I have to start the work to find out the material, what I have with, what does work with saxophone. It's it doesn't work. So I have to forget it somehow, to forget to to and that's why so sometimes I work on other pieces. I have the saxophone quartet maybe in the back room. So but keep it quiet there. Take it easy. And I do something different. When
mm,
because at the moment I do not have material on my table, but I think, oh yeah, here, this this I can make. Here I can start to work with this instrumentation. At the moment I do have nothing,
mm.
and that's always quite the most difficult moment
Yeah.
because it's of course easy to find something to write something. So, oh, that's for dog. Yeah, I can do it, and I could write a. I think I could write something in 10, 15 minutes in 1 week for saxophone quartet. It's not easy. It's not a difficult thing to do that,
Mm,
but why? Why should I do that? And I have not just to find, in this case, not just to find the material for the saxophone quartet, but I have to find the reason to
mm,
write it. And the reason is, of course, uh, connected with the material, but it's also a deeper thing, what is more in the center or inside the composition. So and to find the reason means to do something without too much thinking on the saxophone quartet, and to write, to do something for on the piano, but to read books or many, many other things, not to do the saxophone quartet. So
mm.
that's my experience, how I so the material and the reason
Yeah.
I have to create both together.
Mm, mm. Yeah, that's also really interesting. Very unique approach, I think. Um, but your piece, I really um, well, actually first I did want to ask though, um, what interests you in writing for saxophones? Because yeah, I guess it's fair to say many pieces that feature saxophone. So what interests you about saxophones?
The musicians,
The mu-
friends of mine, that's also something which is I have before my music came more to the public, I have written for nobody, just for me. There's a lot of pieces what I have written in the late 1970s, 80s, and 90s, which were premiered 10 or 20 years later. And then
Wow.
it, when it started that my music was played more, I had all these connections with musicians and with friends of mine. And it's that's an important thing that I like to work with musicians, with this kind of musicians, which the musicians they are they like to play my music and I like to work with them. So how can you make it possible to come together is to write a piece.
Mm-mm.
That's it. Today is a bit different because the musicians they gave me commissions because they want to write to work with me. But 20 years ago or maybe 30 years ago, I wanted to work with the musicians. I wrote a piece for piano and I was in contact with a pianist and then maybe we can do something. Maybe we can do something. But sometimes it took 2 or 3 years, but so it's this connection what is for me important thing though that's dude
Mm.
I like to work with the musicians and the music I'm writing is a something like a bridge to the musicians.
Mm-mm. So in that way, does um d does it come into play that well not come into play, but well Morton Feldman remarked that he tried to transcend the instrument. So I wondered if that resonated with you, if you try to if it's about the sound and not necessarily the instrument.
Hmm. Is this what well, Feldman said this, and but did this happen with him? That's another question.
Yeah, I think he
He's so
said
much, he's so much the instrument.
yeah, I think he said he tried to, but
Yeah, yeah, that's good. He tried it. I can understand he tried it, yes. But yeah, it's well, he is such a great instrument. He works so great with instruments. And of course you can think that's it, what he wanted.
Mm,
I think it's just he wanted to reach a good sound. Uh, What I think it's important for a composer. It's not the only thing what you should have to do or look for. The good sound can also sometimes have stupid music behind, but it is something what I'm interested. It yeah.
mm,
Well, I do not want a so-called clear, smart music, but it sounds bad. So it has to come together. The the inner life of the composition and the good sound. So that's my what I how I think about instruments and about instrumentation.
mm, mm. You know, I saw a video of yours. I think it's quite an old video, but you were showing your workplace, and
Yeah, that's the same room as we are here
oh
now.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it's exactly the same.
and and it to me it looked like I wasn't sure if this was true or not, but it looked like you were working on multiple compositions at once. Do you do that, or is it one by one?
It's not one by one.
Mm,
No, it goes. I have the notebooks, and there is always material for what I'm working on for a piece, but there is also a lot of other things which is not connected with the piece, or maybe with another piece, or maybe later it becomes another piece, or so it's it goes page by page, which looks a bit uh, a clear thing, but when you look at the books, it's chaotic.
mm,
So because there are different pieces, and so at the earlier today do not it's a bit different, but I made the content so and I had all the pages uh, so I could find it.
mm.
Page 17 is this, page 18 is this, and so on. Today
Mm-mm.
it's even more chaotic because I have now different books at the same time. So I lose a bit the overview.
Yeah, well, how can you be so sure then that you'll actually finish a piece if you're working in that way?
Yeah, that's uh, yeah. Interesting is that at some point I think I have it.
Mm,
It's like yeah, everything comes together, and at some point I think I should not touch it more now. And then is another process. Usually I need a couple of weeks before it goes out to the musicians or to the to the performance because my experience is 2 months or 3 months later, I can look at it like a bit more from outside.
yeah.
And then I see it's quite often I see very clear, oh, this and this I have to change on this. And this usually is, in my understanding, like a jump forward for the piece. So now it is. Before it was, sometimes it's just like I have written something, a couple of bars,
Mm,
and it looks later like, yeah, it's like an idea. I have written, like sometimes we write it in words. So I do this and this and this here. So, but it's not, it's half of compositions. It's not in words, but it's something written, but it's not clear. It's just to remind me, I want to do something like that there. And
mm,
3 months later, I look at it and say, yeah, that's not what I wanted, but I know now what it is. And usually these are is the last step. And when this is done, then yeah, I can say, yeah, that's
mm.
it now.
Did you have to train yourself to say accept the piece at a certain point? Was that a difficult thing, or was that just natural, like um, a natural instinct to wait until it's finished, essentially?
I guess it's something like a natural instinct. I
Mm,
cannot, I cannot explain it. So say this is because it's yeah, because of this and this, it's now done. It's more an intuition that
mm,
nowadays. That's also interesting because when the when the rehearsals start, it it gives really the feedback then. And I'm not a composer who starts to work with the musicians and said this and this and this, you have to do this and this and this way. I have a clear idea how the piece is, but the musicians they have also an idea what it is, and it's like uh, usually I can't trust my intuition. So to say this,
yeah.
when the rehearsal start, I see I can trust to my intuition.
Mm-mm. Um, your piece, continuité, fragilité, résonance. Um, I absolutely love that piece, um, and was yeah, just wondering, there's this wonderful continuity with throughout the piece because it's a kind of a lengthy piece with no pause really,
Mhm.
and and uh, and everything just seems to connect so beautifully in that piece. So I was wondering, uh, how do how do you create that um, continuity?
What a crazy question. Yeah. Um, um, uh, Give me a moment to think about this. It's I do not have a method or something like that. It's not. It's uh, so maybe it's always that this kind of answers and question is always a very answer at the moment now. But I what I try when I write such a piece is to be other what I said before. I have to find a reason for the piece, and the reason means I'll makes it all, for me also easier to be connected with the piece. That means to connect it with the piece which is not here. So the but I have something, a feeling of the piece, and during of the process of making the piece, I'm always connected with the piece in I have the I have the feeling the piece is a body and I am a body and we are somehow connected and I my decisions what I do
Yeah.
are musical decisions but always in a connection with my feeling. I think the feeling for the piece is important, but the challenge of the this thing is that you have the feeling for the piece, but you do not have the piece.
Mm.
So during writing the piece, your feeling for the piece becomes clear, takes maybe other direction, or um, it's all the danger that you lose your feeling for the piece. So the piece goes somewhere. Think, oh yeah, no, it's
Mm.
yeah. Some many, as you know, as a composer, many stupid things can happen when we write a piece. But what I try is to to have this feeling for the piece, and I like the word feeling because feeling is nothing. It's nothing to what it is. Nobody knows what it is. It's just like something in the air. You feel, oh, maybe this, maybe this, maybe this, or and somehow everything is possible. But at the same time, it's very precise and and uh, and the feeling for the piece also when the piece is such a long piece, it's yeah, it's when I have written the piece, I'm extremely tired.
Mm.
It's surprising for me too because what I'm doing, I'm just sitting here a couple of weeks and I have the feeling I do nothing. I write a bit, I do this and then make this and then make it this and then I cut this away and but it's always in the process of this intuition and feeling to be connected with something which is happening to be created.
Mm.
And this, maybe it's, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it's not a good question, good answer to your question, but that might be one what makes it that you have the feeling is one thing and you have the feeling, oh yeah, we act, as a listener, we think, oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's okay. We can do that. It's not a stupid thing. And that goes on, and you think that to say, oh yeah, I didn't maybe did not think about that, but oh, it's okay. We do that. We listen to that, and that's the result of my process of working. I think.
Mm. Mm. Uh, huh. Yeah, so does has it ever happened to you then where you you feel you lose the feeling or the piece isn't progressing, and so you have to shelve it for, say, a year or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, that one what I describe now as a feeling, it when I describe it, looks like a very clear thing, but in the
Mm,
practice, it's of course it's not. Because what I said, the challenge is that the feeling on the piece is you have a feeling for something what is not here,
mm,
what you have to create. And to create something means that you it's so easily to lose the feeling because you think, oh yeah, I do this and oh great, but it's not a piece. So we have so many ideas what we can do, but and
yeah.
there is also moment where I have to, yeah, it doesn't go on, so
Mm,
I have to stop. That's one of the reasons what because I always need when I have a commission, always yeah say, oh, okay, give me 2 years or 18 months or something like that. I cannot do it in 3 months because there's always the I keep it as an option to stop it for 4 months.
mm,
I lost everything. I lost the feeling for the piece. Yeah, and then I have to stop and do other things.
and the do you, in your experience, does the feeling come back?
Because of this relationship of what you are creating or what your feeling is, and both has an influence to each other, something comes back.
Mm,
But when whatever you write in a score has an influence on your feeling. That's that's the that's the great thing in writing music and composing because it's not a one-way thing. It's not I have an idea and I write it, but it goes forth and back. I have an idea and I write it, and comes back to me. Oh, and then my feelings changes a bit. Oh, yeah. So that's what I said. I do not have the fixed feeling and now I transpose it to music. No, the the feeling and the process of writing are the somehow the not even more than connected. It's the same thing.
mm. Interesting. Yeah. Mm. So you wouldn't describe it as an abstract thing then?
No, no, it's no, absolutely not.
Mm-mm.
It's a very live thing.
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting. Your piece is your series of pieces called sorry, um extended circular music.
Mhm,
Um yeah, I wanted to ask about those pieces. Well, essentially, I don't know if it's every single piece, but I know for maybe majority that um there's a musical event that happens and then it repeats.
mhm,
And um I maybe wanted to ask you about the maybe the purpose of those pieces, um but also what do you hope the listener gets out of that?
yeah, the idea of circular music is when I was a younger composer, I did not have any idea of this circling music. But I had the impression that I have to touch every note,
Mm,
this and this and this, and I write it. But later, I do not remember how this happened. I, I, I found the idea of repetition. Maybe I started to write canons very, very. strange canons in the 1990s, canons which are half an hour and mainly silences in it. So it's just on the in the score you can see it as a canon, but it is not. So then it started to become the idea that yeah, things can repeat.
Mm.
And also this there are different kind of energy to to make it's not interesting just to write a couple of bars and then you will repeat it. That's not there's always something which is
Mm.
it's also the kind why do you repeat it? Why?
Yeah.
It's and I had oh now I remember I what as an an experience when I'm a I'm not a pianist, but I can play a little bit piano. I can play piano, and I remember playing this Schubert dances. These are 16 bars and collections of dances. But when you are not a professional player, you do not go to the whole series. I pick up some of them and I repeat them. I play it and then it's done and say, oh yeah, why I do it again. And then I played a couple of times. And I remember now, this was my first idea to write the music what the first circle music pieces are not long. So that to write the music when the player has played it, he thinks, oh yeah, I do it again. So to find a music which the player likes to repeat,
Mm.
that was my first yeah idea what I how it should be, how it should be for the player. So he it's a natural thing. Oh yeah, let's do it again.
Mm.
Let's do it again. And I've been working then with this idea so that sometimes some of the pieces they do not really stop at the end. So it's not very clear, oh, is this the end? Or no, we can go. There's a one piano piece. What is I do not remember which number. There are eight chords and the two chords in the middle with the same. And at the end, oh yeah, why not? Why not again? And every time when you come to the end, you can play the end a bit different. So you can play the end that it's already an ending, but you can open it a very little bit. And even if you play it like an ending and you have these four beats, come to the end and oh no, let's do it again.
Mhm.
And that's what I said. It has to be a reason to repeat it. And this is yeah, it's different in all these circle music pieces. So there are different kind of reasons why to repeat it.
Yeah. Well, just well, I mean, the use of repeats in your music. I also kind of wanted to touch on that was is very interesting, um, um, because it doesn't really, yeah, like you say, um, it's not a typical way of using repeats. Yeah, I guess how would you describe um your use of repeats essentially? Would you describe it as that? As oh, this feels good. Let's do it again.
Uh, yeah, it's all. I have also repetitions in longer pieces where sections are repeated and it goes on there.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and
Yeah, that was what I was referring to. Yeah.
yeah, there are also again different. reasons for that. Sometimes it's just necessary. Is that just yeah, we have to to be a bit longer in this. To have to be a bit longer in this atmosphere. Also, it's more of a question of form in the long piece. So how long is something in relation to the whole piece? What is 50 minutes or something like that? How long should this be? It's and I have the feeling it's it, yeah, it's too short. It has to be a bit longer. But there's also an interesting in repetition. What I maybe we can talk. Yeah, I do also repetition of single notes. Just this, and this is a bit different because usually this just happened in a piece. It's just
Yeah.
20 or there's a piano piece which was quasi like something like the prototype of this was more, but in other pieces there are not so long repetitions, but maybe 2 minutes or one of this, yeah, 2 minutes repetition. I I I have the feeling when I do that, and sometimes it's necessary in a piece that it's like the composer goes out there. The music goes on, but the composer does not touch the music, does not touch it. He does duk, 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 duk. Yeah, composer, let it go. This duk, duk for the 95 times, duk, duk. Then I come back and let's see what happens now. Where are we now? We are, of course, on a very different point now. And sometimes it's an idea what works in a piece, sometimes not. But uh, yeah, it's this. Sometimes it's necessary that the composer does not talk all the time. He just let the music go. Do not do not do not chat all the time. So it's and then the thing is that I love it. I love it to also to sit on the piano and just to play one note or to sit on a I have some instruments here, the hand drums and things, just to do this. I love it. So and when it comes to the piece, I said, I let it go, I go out, but of course I know exactly what the music is doing in this time because I love it. And I do not say, oh, I have to go there. I do not care. I do absolutely care on it, but I do not talk all the time. But I love these sounds, these repetitions, which which the repetition what usually composers think that's nothing,
Yeah.
but it's so much. It's so much because when you as a composer love it, then it's so much.
Mm. Wow. Well, I wanted to ask, with form, do you work out, um, do you work out the way I guess the way the form is gonna essentially happen, or does that just come with the material?
Mm. Uh, it, it's both. It's it's sometimes the result of the material, but sometimes it's also a decision,
Mm.
a decision of time sometimes. So I think so I when I write a piece and I have different sections, but I do not know exactly where they are more in the beginning or at the end or so. That's mainly in long pieces. I also calculate how long is it? How long is this section? because it's sometimes not so easy to really to know. We know how many bars it is, but we do not know how long it is, 5 minutes or 7 minutes or 3 minutes or whatever. And and then sometimes I make decisions. So I have maybe this kind of material of these sections, and I have the feeling I need a I need a block in the piece. We have maybe three, 4, and 5 minutes. So I need something which is,
mm.
I do not know what it is, but I think, oh, I need 15 minutes. So there's a
Interesting.
decision of form without any material.
Mm, mm,
But it happens also the other way around. So I work on something and I do this and this and this and that. At the end, I have something, and then I see how long is it? And then I counted the bars, and then I say, oh, it's 7 minutes or whatever. So it's both. It's both. And then it goes to a connection to the whole piece. Where are the long sections? Where are the shorter sections? And it's like a rhythm of form. Form is also a rhythm. And if there are sections, not one thing over the whole piece, but there are different sections, then it gives something like a rhythm
mm,
of form, which is, I think it's not something what the listener thinks about, but it it's a feeling in when you listen to the piece that this kind of something comes, this and this and this, or yeah, we have this now, and it stays here. Yeah, we stay
mm,
here. That's 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 and that's a kind of communication. What I think is important, mainly in my music, because my music is not had not figures and makes not a lot of expression and communicate in this way with the audience. But form is an important
mm,
way of communicate with the audience. So to 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 give them the feeling, oh, it's quite long here now. Sometimes, oh yeah, it maybe a bit boring, but it's a kind of it's yeah. I tell them, hey, it's long here, but it's part of the piece. It is how it is. It's long. That's it. And and so form is how it comes to form is these are decisions of many different kind of levels in during the process of writing the piece.
mm. Yeah, that's extremely interesting. But so I would um just like to end with one last question. Um, how do you think when, or yeah, how um does a piece come to an end for you? Does is it more of just, yeah, a sense of intuition, like, oh yeah, it should end here, or is it something else?
You mind you're speaking about the end of the piece, not the end of the process of writing, the end of the piece.
The end of the piece, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting because what I want is that the piece has an end. So that I do not just want to turn off electricity and then that's it. But I want that, and I try to do something that this is possible that people, a listener at the end comes to me and says, the end was exactly when I expected it. I
Mm,
think it's the end, and then it was another 2 bars, and this was the end. And it doesn't happen all the time, of course. But I guess I have some pieces where you think, yeah, now it is. It's the end. Maybe not exactly here, but you have the feeling within the next 20 seconds, we have it. And it's not just a diminuendo, like it becomes softer and softer and at the end it dies, but it's that's not so interesting because it's so simple. So and we know so many pieces which end like that. But
Mm,
to 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 find something what I compose as a composer come to the end in my speaking. So I write this and I say this and I say it, and at some point, exactly. Everybody knows that's done. It's maybe I say, yeah, hello, goodbye. It's it's done. And in some pieces it's possible to do that. Other pieces it's they are different. They do not do that. But I have a couple of pieces where I think mainly in the maybe last years it was
mm,
a bit easier for me to find this kind of ending to to, the music leads to the end. It does not die a natural dying, but it goes to the end and then yeah
yeah, it's,
we agree again. That's now finished.
mm,
So that's all the same what I said before. The listener says, yeah, we need it's okay for us. And at the end, yeah, that's okay. That's it. That's the end now. So yeah, that's I what I try.
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, that's I mean, yeah, your way of working, it's almost like very spiritual, it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah. But it was a pleasure having you on, and um, thank you so much. And yeah, I hope maybe sometime we can meet up in person. That'd be
Yeah,
great.
would be lovely. Thanks. I hope it makes sense what I have talk about. So it was my
Yeah,
pleasure.
I was
It was my
extremely,
pleasure to spend this hour with you. It's great.
Thank you, everyone, for making it to the end. If you want to support me and the channel, please check out the Patreon link. Find all sorts of things, get a free package of zines. I very much appreciate it. And if you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you, everybody.